After my brother got my wife pregnant and Dad gave them the company I built, I refused to rescue them, took our biggest client, and built a new logistics firm. So I'm 34, male. I was married to Hannah, 32, female, for 6 years, together a bit longer than that. We had a pretty normal life. Or so I thought. Small apartment in the suburbs, decent jobs, weekend grocery runs, fighting over where to order takeout from, watching crime shows until one of us fell asleep, that kind of thing. It wasn't always exciting, but it felt stable, comfortable. You don't really expect things to blow up when everything seems steady. I worked for my dad's logistics company for most of my adult life, not as just another employee. I was the one who made things actually function. I handled the books, set up the online systems, dealt with all the accounting and invoicing. I even landed us our first major contract. Without me, the company wouldn't be what it was. I don't say that to brag, it's just facts. Then there's Jason, my younger brother. He's 28, and he's always been the golden boy. He once borrowed my truck to help a friend move, told me he'd be back by noon, and returned 3 days later, dented, low on gas and reeking like it had hosted a circus. Didn't apologize, just said stuff happens. I covered for him, told Dad it was my fault for not laying down ground rules. That's who I was, the guy always fixing his messes. Should have seen it coming. You know the type. Doesn't take anything seriously, messes around, fails upward somehow. He's good at talking, has that smile that makes people let things slide. My dad gave him more second chances than I can count. I always figured, hey, whatever, he's my brother, right? He'll grow up eventually. Anyway, about a year ago, Hannah told me she was pregnant. I was shocked, but in a good way. We'd talked about kids before, but we weren't actively trying. Still, once she said it, I was excited. I pictured the usual stuff. Setting up a nursery, baby-proofing the apartment, reading dad tips online like an idiot. I even bought a tiny beanie for the kid because it was on sale and looked cute. But after the first couple of weeks, things started to shift. She wasn't acting how I expected. I figured she'd be more excited. But instead, she got distant, cold, hard to read. I'd ask how she was feeling and she'd just say, fine. I'd try to help around the house more and she'd act like I was annoying her. I assumed it was hormones or pregnancy stress and didn't want to make it about me, so I brushed it off. Then the phone thing started. She used to leave her phone lying around without thinking twice. Now it was like an extension of her hand, always face down, notifications silenced, taking calls in the other room. And when Jason started coming around more often, I noticed something strange between them. Not anything obvious, just tension, the kind that makes you uncomfortable even though nothing is technically wrong. It got in my head. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. One night, I sat on the porch for a solid 20 minutes just staring at the street. My mind was blank but buzzing at the same time. Then I realized her iPad was on the coffee table inside, same iCloud account. I went back in quietly like I didn't want to alert suspicion, even though I wasn't doing anything wrong, just confirming what was already hitting me like a truck. Please be nothing. Please just be work emails or dumb Pinterest boards. It wasn't. I opened messages. They were synced. There were photos, not nudes, but ones that still gut-punched me. A selfie of her and Jason at a coffee shop I didn't even know she liked. Another at the park, that stupid duck pond where I took her on our second date. She looked happy in them, relaxed. That goofy smile she always said she only made around me. Yeah, there it was, aimed at Jason like he'd invented air. And then a screenshot of a flight confirmation. 2 seats, same destination we'd been saving for over a year, except it was a long weekend in November and I wasn't invited. Just her and Jason. When she came out of the shower, I didn't say anything. I kept quiet for 2 days, just observing, thinking, watching how she acted. She kissed me goodnight like nothing was wrong, made her tea in the morning, smiled at me like she wasn't sleeping with my brother. After sitting on it a couple more days, I finally said something. We were on the couch watching TV. I muted the show and looked at her. I think we should do a DNA test once the baby's born, I said. She went dead silent for about 3 seconds. That eerie, TV-muted, storms-coming silence. Then she exploded. How dare you accuse me, she screamed, like I'd just accused her of plotting world domination. Do you seriously think I'd lie to you while I'm pregnant with your child? I opened my mouth to respond. But nope, she was on a roll. You don't trust me. That's what this is. You're trying to control me, and I'm done pretending this is normal. This is not okay. She started pacing, building momentum. I've been throwing up every morning, dragging myself to those awful appointments, feeling like crap every single day, and this is how you treat me? You're basically calling me a liar, a cheater, a fraud. You know what? I'm starting to think you're the one with issues. You're paranoid. You sit and stew in your own thoughts until you invent some fantasy where I'm the villain and you're the poor betrayed guy. Then she dropped what she thought was her mic drop moment. You just ruined this pregnancy for me. This was supposed to be a happy time, and now look what you've done. Congratulations, you broke it. I stayed calm the whole time. When she finally paused to catch her breath, I said, if there's nothing to hide, then what's the issue with the simple test? She just looked at me, stunned again, then stormed off to the bedroom, didn't talk to me for the rest of the night. After that, things got worse. She didn't yell anymore, she just avoided. Every time I brought it up, she'd say, not this again, or why are you so obsessed with this? And shut it down. She refused to even acknowledge Jason's name. At one point she told me, I don't even like your brother, and I swear I almost laughed. Then about a week later, I came home early from work. Wasn't trying to catch anything, just had a bad headache and skipped the afternoon. Took the side door through the garage. That's when I heard her in the living room, on the phone, speaker on. She didn't hear me come in. She was pacing, talking fast, didn't notice I was standing around the corner near the stairs. Mike's asking for a paternity test. He's doubting us, she said. Jason's voice. Crap. Did you say anything? I panicked, Hannah said. I didn't know what to say. What do we do if he actually makes me take it? He's just bluffing, Jason replied. Don't worry about it. Just keep acting normal. My whole chest tightened. I didn't make a sound. I backed up slowly, went out the same way I came in, and drove around for hours. Slept in the car that night, didn't want to see her, didn't want to talk. I had no plan yet, but I knew I wasn't going to pretend anymore, and I definitely wasn't going to protect them. So I called Jason and told him to meet me near the old auto shop on Creekside. Neutral ground, quiet, out of the way. He showed up late, wearing sunglasses like we were in a bad spy movie. I was leaning against my car, arms crossed, eyes locked on him the moment he stepped out. What's going on? He asked, trying way too hard to sound casual. You tell me. I nodded toward the bench. We sat, awkward silence for a second, then I laid it out. What the hell are you doing sneaking around with Hannah? His face twitched. Guilt. The kind you can't fake. We're just friends, man. Classic Jason move, scratching the back of his neck. She's been struggling. I've been there. That's it. Coffee shop across town, the duck pond, the flight in November. I hit him with everything, one by one. That your idea of helping? He went quiet. Real quiet. You slept with her, didn't you? He didn't look at me when he finally muttered, it was a mistake. I clenched my jaw, sat there still as stone. You know she's pregnant, I said, voice flat. He flinched. So I'll ask you straight, is it yours? More silence. Then he let out a breath like it weighed 10 pounds. I think so. You think? She told you it might be? He shook his head. I didn't know what to do, Mike. I didn't plan any of this. Number one, just showed up, smiled, acted innocent, and kept your brother's wife while shaking his hand at family dinner. He looked like he was going to cry, but I didn't care. I stood up. You're going to keep pretending this is something you tripped into, like it was bad weather or an accident? He said nothing, just sat there shrinking. You're a coward, Jason, and now you're going to be a dad to a kid you made while wrecking your own brother's life. Still nothing. Thanks for the confirmation, I said and walked off. I didn't yell. Didn't throw a punch. I just wanted the truth, and I got it. There was a big family event coming up. Dad's birthday. Everyone shows up, friends, relatives, people I hadn't seen since dial-up internet. I usually dreaded those things, too many fake hugs, too much small talk, but this time I was actually looking forward to it. Maybe for once I wouldn't feel like the background character in my own family. That feeling didn't last long. I acted normal for the next few days. Hannah kept texting, glued to her phone, taking random calls outside. I stopped asking questions. Every time she looked at me, I think she knew something had changed, but she convinced herself I'd let it go. That's what guilt does sometimes. It makes people believe they're getting away with it because you're quiet. Jason texted the day before the dinner. You coming? I replied, wouldn't miss it. He sent a thumbs up. I didn't answer. Saturday came. We drove to my parents' place together. I didn't say much. She didn't notice, or didn't want to. Everyone was there early because Mom made her famous lasagna. Jason walked up, gave me a pat on the back like he wasn't screwing my wife. I gave him a look. He flinched just a little. Dinner started around 7. I sat at the far end next to Hannah. Jason was a few seats down. Dad was at the head, smiling wide, cracking jokes. Then, it was my turn. I stood up slowly. The family quieted down like they always do when someone stands to speak. I looked at Dad first. Happy birthday. Thanks for everything you've done. For the company, for raising us. He nodded, raised his glass. Then I turned to the table. Since this is a family event, I just wanted to share some news. Someone joked. Don't tell me you're moving. I ignored it. Looked right at Hannah. She froze, fork halfway to her mouth. Then at Jason, whose smile suddenly looked plastic. She's pregnant, I said, but not with my child. She's pregnant with his. I wasn't guessing, I knew. And the best part, they did too. Jason went ghost white. Hannah looked like the floor had opened beneath her. No one clapped. No one defended. Just silence. The kind that stings worse than words. I looked back at Dad. Thought you should know who your future heir really is. Then I sat down. I didn't wait for the reaction. Got up, walked inside, grabbed my keys, and left quietly. I found out later from my cousin that the dinner fell apart within minutes. Mom burst into tears. Jason tried to deny it, even called me paranoid, but Hannah just sat there frozen. Dad ended the night early and sent everyone home. That silence I walked away from. It followed them like a shadow. That night, I drove around again, parked by the lake, just sat there. My brain was blank. I wasn't even sad. It felt like I'd finally finished something, like closing a book I should have stopped reading months ago. The next morning I went home. Hannah was already up, drinking tea at the table like nothing had happened. She looked tired, nothing else. I dropped my keys on the counter. She spoke first. So, you really had to do that last night? I let out a short, humorless laugh. You serious? You embarrassed me in front of your whole family. No, Hannah, you did that. I just stopped covering for you. We could have talked in private. We did. I asked for the test. You flipped. I asked calmly again. You acted like I was insane. She stared into her mug like it had answers. I sat down across from her. I saw the photos. You and him at the coffee shop. At our duck pond. The one I took you to when we first started dating, you looked happy. Way happier than you've looked with me lately. That smile you said was just for me. Guess you lent it out. And the flight confirmation, 2 tickets, same trip we were saving for, November-long weekend getaway, just you and your upgrade. She sipped her tea like it was mildly inconvenient. You were going to let me pay the bills while you packed your bags for him. That wasn't confusion, Hannah. That was commitment. She finally looked at me. Not guilty, not teary, just tired like I was the unreasonable one. It's not that simple, she said. No, enlighten me. You were always busy, always working, always stressed. Jason, he's just easier. He listens. He makes me feel seen. I blinked. So that's it. He makes you feel seen, and suddenly vows don't matter. You think being reliable is enough? You show up, pay bills, do what a good guy should do, but you're never really here. You don't talk. You don't notice things. He does. I let out a dry laugh. So you sleep with my brother because he's got better conversation skills? It's more than that. He makes me feel wanted, like I matter. You were stuck in routine. Jason's not afraid to take risks. He lives. You mean he's irresponsible and reckless? The same guy who crashed my truck, ghosted his last job, and can't hold a relationship longer than 6 months. That's your new standard. She looked down. He made me feel something. You made me feel stuck. You made your choice, Hannah. You texted him while I slept next to you. You planned trips with the money I earned. You didn't trip and fall into this. You built it brick by brick. Is it his kid? I asked flat. She hesitated then. I don't know. That one landed hard, even though I already knew. I ran a hand down my face. I built a future around you. Worked extra hours for baby savings, read stroller reviews at 1 a.m., gave everything to make this work. She said nothing. You didn't fall for him. You settled because he was around and made you feel important, while I did the work that kept everything afloat. Silence. I stood up. Congrats. You traded up to a guy who makes you feel alive. Let's see how that works once the diapers pile up. I grabbed the duffel I'd already packed, tossed in clothes without folding. She watched but didn't stop me. Where are you going? Somewhere that isn't here. I paused at the door. You're doing the test. You're not ghosting me on that. I deserve to know. She nodded without looking at me. Okay. I walked out and didn't look back. I crashed at a friend's place for a while. He didn't push, just handed me the spare key and said the couch was mine. Exactly what I needed. My dad kept calling, same time every day, finally picked up on the 4th day. We need to talk, just us, he said. I went, not because I wanted to hear his side, but because I needed to say mine. He was in his usual chair, reading paperwork like nothing happened. I think you need to let this go, he said. There's a baby involved. Jason wants to do the right thing now. Maybe it's time to let him and Hannah be together. Give the baby a proper family. I actually laughed, dry, stunned. That's the guy you want to pass everything down to. The one who slept with my wife and didn't have the balls to admit it until I exposed him at your birthday? He knows he messed up, but he's still your brother. Then the kicker, you also need to think about the company. Clients notice things. This could hurt the business. I leaned forward. Clients care about who gets the job done. That's never been Jason. That's when I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I just didn't need them. I'm selling my shares, I said. Talk to a lawyer. Give Jason the keys. I'm done. He looked like I'd slapped him. I didn't care. I followed through. Sold clean, took a small loss, walked away free. Jason took over day to day at the company. At first, I didn't care. Then I started hearing things. Missed payments, clients leaving, drivers quitting. Words spread fast. Then Dad called midweek. Things are a mess. Jason's trying, but it's not working. We're bleeding clients. I need help. I let it hang. Help with what? Picking up the pieces? You know how this business runs. You always did. I shouldn't have let things go the way they did. You mean letting your golden boy run it into the ground while pretending nothing was wrong? He sighed. I'm asking not as your father, but as someone who knows what this company really needs. I let it sit. I'm not coming back to fix what he broke. You made your choice. Now live with the consequence. I hung up. I moved to a different city, rented a small apartment, started consulting for logistics firms. Quiet work, no drama, just peace. Jason texted once. I know I don't deserve it, but if you ever want to talk, I'm here. I swiped it away. Hannah left a voicemail months later, voice shaky. Jason left. He's gone. I'm alone with the baby. I made a mistake. You didn't deserve any of it. I didn't reply. A few days later, an envelope arrived. No return address. Inside, DNA test results. 99.98% match. Jason's kid. I stared at the paper a long time. It wasn't surprise. It was final. Then an old client, the one who gave us our first big break, called. We pulled our contract from your dad's company. Too messy. But I liked working with you. Want to move everything under your name? That contract became the foundation of my own firm. Small, lean, 5 good people, steady growth. Last week, Hannah showed up at my door, baby on her hip, eyes tired. Can I talk to you just for a minute? I stepped out, closed the door behind me, leaned against the railing. Why are you here, Hannah? Jason's gone, moved out of state, blocked me. My hours got cut. It's hard. I've had time to think. You were always solid. You showed up. I just didn't see it then. Yeah, I said. You didn't. She wiped tears. I'm not asking for anything. Maybe I just needed you to see him. She tilted the baby toward me. He's your nephew. I shook my head. He's Jason's son, and you made your choices. I've been rebuilding my life, I told her. You and Jason tore everything down. I didn't ask for that, didn't deserve it, but I built something better. She opened her mouth, but I cut her off, calm, direct. You showed up for closure. I got mine a long time ago. I turned, went inside, and closed the door. Didn't slam it, just closed it. She stood on the porch another minute, then left. That was months ago. Haven't heard from her or Jason since. My firm is growing. The old company is barely hanging on. Contracts gone, Dad's health failing, Jason working some warehouse job out of town. His charm finally ran out. I didn't cheer, didn't celebrate, just nodded. Karma isn't loud. It just takes its time and hits exactly where it hurts: reputation, money, pride. I never got revenge. I just told the truth, walked away, and built a better life while they tried to piece together the one they shattered. Now I wake up, make my own coffee, answer to no one. Peace is loud when you're used to chaos. And honestly, the best revenge wasn't finding someone new or flexing online. It was just being better, better off, better alone. Sometimes, when the city is asleep and the only sound is the low hum of the refrigerator, I still feel that hollow space right beneath my ribs, like a room I used to live in suddenly got boarded up while I was inside it. It's not pain the way it was in the beginning. Back then it felt like drowning on dry land, like every breath was borrowed and I was waiting for someone to demand it back. Now it's quieter. It's more like standing in the ashes of a house you spent years decorating and realizing you're not crying over the furniture, you're mourning the version of yourself who thought those walls would keep him safe forever. I miss that version of me more than I miss any of them. I miss the guy who covered for his brother without a second thought, who believed blood meant unbreakable, who thought if he just kept showing up and doing the right thing, the universe would eventually notice and reward him. That guy died slow, suffocated under excuses and lies and fake smiles across the dinner table. I buried him the night I walked out of my parents' house without looking back. Some days I still visit his grave in my head and whisper, "I'm sorry I couldn't save you." But here's what nobody tells you about betrayal this total. It burns everything flammable out of you. All the naivete, all the people-pleasing, all the quiet desperation to be the good one, the reliable one, the one who fixes things. It turns to smoke. And when the fire finally dies, what's left underneath is something harder, cleaner, truer. I'm not the man I was. I'm sharper now. I trust slowly. I forgive even slower. I don't confuse tolerance with love anymore or silence with peace. I kept that tiny beanie, the one I bought on impulse because it was soft and gray and perfect for a head that never belonged to me. It sits in a box on the top shelf of my closet, next to a couple of old photos I can't quite bring myself to delete. I don't look at them often, but I know they're there. Proof. Evidence that I once believed in something so fiercely that I was willing to build my entire life around it. One day, maybe years from now, I'll take that beanie out, hold it in my hands, and give it to a child who will never have to wonder if they were wanted, if they were planned for, if they were loved before they even took their first breath. That child won't fix anything that was broken, but they'll remind me why I kept rebuilding anyway. I'm not angry anymore. Anger was the fuel that got me out of the wreckage. Peace is what's left when the tank finally runs dry. Peace looks like Sunday mornings with no plans and no dread. It looks like clients who call because they respect my work, not because I share DNA with the owner. It looks like locking my door at night and knowing, no matter what, nobody on the other side of it has the power to destroy me again. They took my family, my marriage, my company, my future as I saw it. They thought they left me with nothing. They were wrong. They left me with me. And for the first time in 34 years, that's more than enough.